working with me is product manager Ryan Smith, and we work for Wilson Sporting Goods. Couldn't be happier to be someplace on launch day, better than just ballgloves.com. So we want to take a few minutes to talk through some of the stuff going on this year with a new product line and take some questions from all of you as well. Ryan, what's new this year for 2019?
Well, we've got a couple things that are new. One of the biggest things is, and you'll find it on our infield gloves, is our new flat binding, and also it's also with a soft finger pad, finger divider, I should say, not pad.
Now on that one, you can see on the inside it's a slightly different color, right?
Right, it is. It's black, where the rest of them are blonde, or the blonde color. The black piece, though, is a soft leather wrap for the finger divider. It allows for a little more padding, so if you have your finger out, then you have padding right here on the divider, whether it be standard, wearing your gloves standard, or two in the pinky, you still have the padding there. And also, for a lot of people, the rolled binding on some of the gloves can give people a problem with their fingers when the ball hits in here. And so it can cause bruising, it can cause bone irritation. So this flat binding, what that does is that takes away that little lump back there and helps keep it nice and smooth so you don't have that problem anymore.
So that's why you've got that stitch running through the binding.
That is correct.
Compressing it down, not instead of the traditional finish way like it would be rolling.
That is correct, and yes, and we've had questions with people that have seen this so far, whether or not that's a blend. That is not a blend, that is supposed to be like that. And again, it adds for a little more comfort for the player, and especially for the younger players with the smaller fingers, where their fingers just don't get out as much.
Sure.
And when they get that little pop and it hurts their hand, this should take away a lot of that sting.
Now, it's not just younger players that benefit from that. You had a big leaguer that you and I also work with is really what this is kind of inspired.
Right. Yeah. Actually, we had one of the big leaguers. Actually, he's a pretty big leaguer, in Justin Turner.
He's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, he is, and he would complain about that a little bit, and so that's kind of, we actually started this with our fast pitch gloves, and got such great feedback from it and the comfort from the girls that we just added a little bit. Also added this little soft piece underneath to make it a little more comfortable for the baseball players. And Turner was one of those that we started testing it with.
Okay, so what is that available on this year? That flat binding with that pad on the inside. What models is that on?
It's on the 2019 1786, 1787, the 1788 Superskin, the regular 1788. Pretty much most of our new infield gloves.
So the new 2019 models, infield models, is on there, and like you said, that's been on fast pitch gloves for a while.
Correct.
Nice.
Correct.
All right, cool.
We also have a new pitcher's pattern coming out in the A2000, our B125. It is a 12.5 version of the B2 pattern, just a half-inch bigger. Great for pitchers. I mean, a lot of guys are starting. The trend is that they're wanting to go to 12.5 because they want something that they can hide the ball and hide their grips a little better with. And so that's why we started talking about. Oscar and I started talking about it last year about we need a longer pitcher's glove as guys are going bigger. So we came up with this one, and part of the other reason too is because John Lester wanted something that's 12.5, and as you know, he's a new member to our staff.
Yeah.
And so this is actually the pattern he's using right now, along with a few other pitchers that we made it for.
Okay, yeah, it is pretty interesting. You said guys want to like mask their grip and things like that. I was watching the Cubs Padres game yesterday, and there's a kid named Joey Lucchese that's a pitcher for the San Diego Padres, and he had a different kind of grip on his ball yesterday. It was like he had a curveball grip. But he also was like it had a change-up grip, but also had like a curve to it at the same time. And in doing so, they were actually showing on TV. He kind of goes up really high, and would actually they could get a really good look at the grip he had in there. But the way he had the glove fan on, it was one of ours. Yeah,
yep.
And he was able to really obscure it pretty well. He was almost like showcasing to the hitter, and they couldn't figure out what he was throwing. He had a really nice game.
Well, you see, I mean, a lot of pitchers, they really like that to be wide because they want to get their, you don't want to move it. You don't want to have your hand hitting the sides and moving it because then
showing guys what's going on.
Exactly. You get the idea that you're changing your grips. You take a look at Clayton Kershaw, great example. His is just fanned out really, really wide.
Right.
You don't know what he's putting in there. And, I mean, if the best pitcher on the planet's doing it,
right,
I think everybody else should be too.
Absolutely. All right, cool. So we've seen something new going on with pitchers models, and we've seen kind of the big new thing with the flat binding going on with the infield models.
Right.
Let's see if we've got some questions from people out there that we can help answer.
Sounds great.
What are the benefits of the Superskin?
I'll answer that one. The benefits of Superskin are Superskin is a microfiber material. It's half the weight of leather, twice the durability. So it lightens up the glove. Sometimes when you have an all-leather glove, and especially if you're an outfielder, that glove can get really heavy, or if you're a younger player. Superskin just makes it light, it's really durable, and it breaks in really fast. A little water resistant too. Anything else to add?
Yeah, I usually see with the bigger gloves, it takes about 15 to 20% of the weight on average out of the gloves. The smaller one's about 10% of the weight. But yeah, the weight makes it lighter, doesn't take on that moisture, and some people feel like it breaks in a little quicker, but it holds its breaking. So it's got some benefits for players of all ages and really positions.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
we had a couple questions come in. Anything new coming out for catchers from a catcher standpoint?
We have a new version of our M2 catcher's mitt in the A2K, which has got a thumb protector or thumb and wrist protector built into it to help for any balls that hit off of here. So when you bend it back, so that's going to be a new feature, but also it's got a finger sleeve in it so you can hide your finger in it better. We have some kind of tweaks to some of our catcher's mitts, more or less looks and styles, and then we have a Pedroia Fit catcher's mitt coming out for the kids in the A2000 line, that is, A2000 Pedroia Fit catcher's mitt. For the younger kids that are catchers that want to use an A2 but just don't have the hand size or the kind of the bandwidth in their hands to really get and strengthen that and close that glove, we've made it a little smaller and fits them a little better.
That piece on the M2 is pretty cool. I like it because it helps to prevent injury. A lot of people think about thumb injury and thumb protection at post-injury. This is really something that you can do to prevent all that, because it really does more than just protect the damaged area. It, like you said, it kind of keeps that thumb and wrist locked in place, right? And so it prevents the overextension from happening.
Exactly, and that was something that Asso and Pudge Rodriguez, Hall of Famer Pudge Rodriguez, worked on a couple of years ago, and they spent some time to make sure it got right, and it's right now.
Cool. All right, what else do we have going on out there?
Any of these gloves fit a child's smaller hand, say like a 10 to 12-year-old?
Yeah, I mean, that's what our Pedroia Fit series is really all about.
Yeah, our Pedroia Fit series is made for the smaller hand. You know, it was developed actually because you guys started working with Dustin Pedroia back in the day, and then, you know, it just kind of, Dustin has a smaller hand, and it's just kind of come along into an entire series because we're finding out more and more kids want to use an A2000. We need a glove that fits their hand a little better.
Yeah, I mean, we see kids as young as 10 years old that are ready for an A2.
Yeah.
And my intention or instinct is always that maybe 11, 12, 13, wait for the hand to get a little bit bigger, right?
Yeah.
You see kids that young wanting to use it. And the nice thing about the Pedroia Fit is it's not just a small hand opening. It's adjusting all those different parts of the pattern and several points of contact
Right.
to make sure it works really with that smaller hand. It's not just securing at the bottom, it's making sure it's one with the top of the hand. You want to walk through some of those things?
Right. Yeah. And I was going to say a lot of times, and I'll just hold this one up kind of to show for examples. But a lot of times when somebody says it's a smaller fit, they just bring the wrist in.
Right.
We've narrowed the finger stalls, brought back the finger stalls down a little bit too, so it fits a smaller hand better. You know, it wasn't just the adjustment here; it was the adjustment in the glove itself.
Right, yeah, not extending those finger stalls all the way up so the
Exactly.
fingertips can actually touch the end of it, making sure this right over here over the knuckle bridge is tapered down a bit, so it's got a nice secure fit there. I always think it's good when thumb and pinky are brought together because of those smaller hands. When they put it in a regular A2, they get extended. If you try to leverage that strength, you got to go back to a resting position, and then it gets stronger. Where with Pedroia Fit, when the younger player gets his hand in there, their hand's already at rest, so it just gives them the ability to close it a little bit easier,
Yep.
Respond a little bit quicker, and not expend as much energy, which on a young developing hand is a big deal.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, one of the things too, for the speaking of young developing hands that we'd like to recommend is if you're having a problem squeezing it, go do the two
Yeah,
fingers
do it.
in the pinky method.
Absolutely.
Where you slide it, where you put two fingers in this pinky slot here, slide everything over. It gives you more leverage to squeeze a glove. This glove has not been worked with or broken in, but you can see I can squeeze it, you know,
Right.
a lot better. Where if I go standard on it, it's a lot harder.
A little bit harder.
So-
and you'll notice when you do it the other way, we'll go ahead and put two in that pinky stall there
Yep.
again and show where the heel of your hand is. It sticks out. And some people think that doesn't look right, because it's sticking out, so it looks like that might not be the appropriate fit. You see a lot of close-ups of big leaguers, outfielders in particular,
Yes.
that do that. You notice that's common practice for the bottom of your hand to stick out, but it gives you that much more control over it. It extends the length of that glove, so it plays a little bit longer, and it just is a little bit easier to control, even though it may not look like it. It definitely feels like it. Once you get used to that, people tend to gravitate to it right away.
Absolutely, and we're starting to see it more and more on the pro level. I mean, I've even heard of some pro guys going 3, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's tough to get 3 there too, but you can open it up enough. If I guess they want to get to that.
Yeah.
They could do that on a longer model.
Yep. So yeah, that's the long answer to the smaller question. Smaller fit.
Okay, we have a question from Brian. What goes into choosing the colors for the line?
That's a really good question, and I think it's one of those things that you and I have worked on together for over the years. I
Yeah.
think the best answer is we don't choose the colors; players do.
Yeah.
We're just the shepherds of kind of getting that from ideas, which Ryan and also have the ideas, taking it out to players, getting a lot of feedback from thousands of players, and just seeing what they're what they gravitate to. And that's really what we do. We try to ask people a lot of questions and make sure that we're bringing players what they want.
Yeah.
How often should you put leather conditioner on an A2K?
On an A2K, well, on your glove in general, that sort of depends on where you live. If you live in a drier area, let's say the Southwest, Arizona, Nevada, parts of Texas, Colorado with the altitude, where it's drier air and a little bit hotter, I recommend that you put it on anytime you feel like your leather is getting a little bit dry. Gloves can dry out. It's like your skin. Your skin dries out, you put conditioner or you put lotion on it. Your leather's like your skin. When it dries out, put conditioner on it. If it starts looking, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this here. If it just starts looking like the color's fading and all of that, that's probably a good time to put a coat of conditioner on. If the color fades a lot, I recommend grabbing our mink oil paste because that helps restore the color. But it depends on where you live. If you're in northern areas where it's not as dry, you don't have to do it as much. I'd say maybe twice a year, but in a place like, drier areas, drier, warmer spots, I'd say, as much as needed to make sure your glove doesn't get dry, because once it gets dry, the leather gets weak and then it rips.
And I'd say a little bit goes a long way.
A little bit goes a long way.
With Pro Stock conditioner or mink oil, put a couple of fingers there, take a little dab, rub it in. You don't need to see it cooling up because that's going to add weight to the glove. And once you put it on, you can't take it off. So you want to put just a little bit on and see if it soaks it right up. You start to see a little bit of suppleness come back, and a little bit of color come back. That's usually enough. Yep. Also, we say there are a lot of great conditioners out there. Obviously, we like ours best, right? But never put it in the microwave, never put it in the oven, never put it in the steam box. All those things are really bad for your glove. That will dry it out. And those are things you also can't necessarily correct once you've done it. You can't undo it.
No.
So Aso's videos online always show you the best way to break in a glove. Keep your laces nice and tight. There's another thing you want to do to make sure the glove stays in good condition. A little bit of conditioner, those lanolin-based conditioners, ours and other ones, as long as you're not applying that unnecessary heat, do a nice job.
Correct.
Okay. And maybe one or two more before we get into the contest. And transitioning into the softball side of things, Chad asking, for a younger player, with the softballs being bigger and the glove being smaller, what would you recommend pocket or web size for a younger fast pitch player?
It's funny because we get this question quite a bit, and a lot of people, there's a myth out there of, the softball's a 12-inch softball, you got to have bigger than a 12-inch glove. It's not true. They're measured different. For a younger player, 11.5 is fine. 11.5 to a 12-inch for a younger girl. You want to just make sure that they can control it. It's not a glove that's too big for them, that they can't function properly. You just want to make sure that they'll still be able to catch a ball just fine with an 11.5 glove.
Right, and for a younger player, I'd always say make sure you go with a fast pitch specific glove because those gloves have pockets that are specifically made for the bigger softball. You will occasionally see the girls at the collegiate level or professionals that are using a baseball glove, and you'll see them use it for fast pitch. They're breaking it in for that. But when you talk about a younger player, you want to go with a fast pitch specific glove because that's really going to help that player have better control of the glove and make sure they've got a pocket that's more stable and can handle that different size ball.
Awesome. Okay. And then if we want to grab the blonde and gray glove.
So
we got giveaways going on, right?
Yep. So we have a little bit of a giveaway. We have two of our brand new 2019 1788s, one Superskin, one all leather. These are broken in by Aso. He's actually here with us. He broke these in. You can see a little bit of the water right here still left in it. And so these are broken in. Just Ball Gloves and Pro Athlete will be giving these away. And then, yeah. I guess, do you have any more to add to that?
I think that's it, guys. Really appreciate your time. We'll get them answering the questions that we didn't get to in the comments. So just keep an eye out for that. And we'll announce the winner here shortly. So if you tuned in, you have an opportunity to win. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thank you so much.